Hello, I'm Daniel, and welcome to my YouTube channel. We here are continuing in our series of videos with respect to inspiration, education, information, guidance, advice. And I want to continue with another story of Rabbi Yitzhak Eisik of Kalev. Actually, this story is about his daughter-in-law, Reisel, who was the daughter of Rabbi Zevi Hirsh of Zhydatchov. This young lady married the Rabbi of Kalev's son, and they lived in her father's house. Rabbi Yitzhak Eisik's son lived with her in her father's house. Once they received an invitation to spend Passover in Kalev with Rabbi Yitzhak Eisik. His daughter-in-law Reisel was against this. She did not want to be absent from her father's Seder. But her husband kept urging her to accept, and finally she consented. Now, the customs in her father-in-law house and the Rabbi of Kalev's house were quite different from those that she was familiar with at her father's house. But what got to her the most, more than anything, was that the Rebbe of Kalev, Rabbi Yitzhak Eisik, he didn't sit down at the table early on the Seder evening, as her father did. He would sit at the head of the table at the beginning of the Seder. Instead, he walked back and forth in the room for a very long time, without saying a word. People are waiting, he's walking back and forth, everyone's looking at each other. Suddenly, the Rebbe of Kalev opens up a window. A carriage drawn by two great white horses stopped in front of the house. In it were 3 men and 4 women, all of a very princely, regal appearance. The Rebbe goes out to them, Rebbe of Kalev goes out to the carriage. They embrace him, they kiss him, they exchange a few words. And then they get back into the carriage, the coachman cracks his whip, and the carriage is gone. It's then that the Rebbe re-entered the room, closed the door, sits down at the table, and starts the Seder. His daughter-in-law, Reisel, of course, is bursting. She's plotting to find out what's going on, but she keeps quiet and she doesn't question him. She and her husband are back at her father's house, back at the house of Rabbi Zevi Hirsh of Zhydatchov, and she tells her father what happened, leaving out no details, tells everything that happens. And she said how puzzled she was. And her father nodded. And he says, you must know who those people were. In the Passover Seder, there's a song, Echad mi yodea, who knows 1, who knows 2, 3, 4. 4 and 3. Arba imahot, shloshe avot. He says, you must know that those were the patriarchs and the matriarchs. 4 women, 3 men. The holy Rebbe did not want to sit down at the Seder before the advent of salvation, before the day of redemption, before Moshiach was coming. He besieged the upper worlds, he besieged the heavens with his prayers and his entreaties. Bring salvation, bring it now, bring it before Pesach. And so, the avos and the imahot, the matriarchs and the patriarchs, had to appear to tell him that the time had not yet come. It was not yet the time of the redemption, the salvation. It was not yet time for Moshiach to come, and so could he please go into the house and start the Seder. We're going to be doing more stories along these lines of these and other great Hasidic leaders of the past centuries. I hope you're finding them of some inspiration. Please come back. Please watch. Please learn. And until then, I'm Daniel, and thank you too much.